Now, when I tell you what the Liberal National Party in Queensland have signed themselves up to, I think it's going to leave you scratching your head. They have backed the Labor government, state Labor government's emission reduction targets in that state. Now, this is a plan to cut 75% of greenhouse gas emissions on 2005 levels by 2035. Now, the Nationals leader, David Littleproud, I saw him on Sky today. He has slammed his Queensland colleagues, warning the targets are, quote, reckless and unachievable. Now, he was fired up last week. I know another bloke slamming the Queensland LNP today, and that's our Friday regular, former Queensland Premier Campbell Newman. What the hell are your LNP colleagues think they're doing?
Well, they're not my LNP colleagues anymore, Steve. I'm actually a member of the Libertarian Party here in Queensland, and actually a member at the moment of the state executive. So I should declare it up front, because I'm not going to give any sort of quarter to the LNP state team. I want to see, by the way, a coalition government federally with some Libertarians in there at the next election. And I was hoping to see David Crisafulli as well. But with this sort of insanity, and that's not what I'm just calling it, that's what federal LNP members of parliament are calling this. Not only does Crisafulli and the LNP state team go into the parliament this week and back the Labor Party's crazy targets, which will destroy the economy of Queensland, because there is no proper plan to get to this sort of situation, but they also do over their federal colleagues, Peter Dutton in particular, by not backing nuclear. In fact, they oppose nuclear. Can you believe these guys? Look, the trouble is this is now becoming a real sort of thing that we've seen from the state LNP. Back in May, in Cairns, they backed treaty and truth-telling. This was, May last year. And then we saw this state vote almost 70% against the voice. Now, that caused huge ructions internally with the LNP. And I can tell you now, and again, it's in the Australian, for those who care to go online and have a look this afternoon, the party rank and file in the LNP are going crazy over this. It is a betrayal. I mean, I don't know what the state MPs in Crisafulli's team expect. These people to just dutifully turn up at polling booths and hand out for MPs who are so completely at odds with what they believe in the rank and file. It's just an extraordinarily arrogant display from people who think they've got the state election in the bag. Well, with this sort of behaviour, frankly, it pains me to say this, but they don't deserve to win. Now, Queensland needs a change of government, because we've got this, hopeless Labor government with, a nincompoop of a premier. But, David Crisafulli, you need to think long and hard about this. It is not what the party want. It is not what Queenslanders want. And it's not what we want from a future premier and government.
I once caught Peter Garrett out before a federal election. He famously admitted to me that if they won the election, which they ultimately did in 2007 with Kevin Rudd, don't worry about it, once we get in, we'll just change it all, which caused a huge ruckus. Rudd still won, but Garrett really never recovered from that. Is that what this is about, that they just say, oh, well, we'll back it now and then when we get in, we'll change it? Or do they really believe that this is the way to take Queensland?
Well, they've got a young MP from the Gold Coast, a guy by the name of Sam O'Connor, who is their environment spokesperson, and this young bloke tends to push these things. I know that he believes it, but I think you're right, that there is a cynicism there that Crisafulli might go, well, we won't do anything when we get there, or we'll overturn it. And he sort of said that on that treaty and truth-telling stuff, which then sort of begs the question, what do they stand for, really? Look, this whole small target strategy is deceitful. Queenslanders, indeed Australians, need oppositions to tell them what they will do, what they stand for, what they'll implement, and they need to actually be prepared to take, at times, unpopular things to the community, but argue for the importance of those initiatives to be delivered. For example, mate, this state, it was revealed in the recent days, the state debt of Queensland is going to reach, gross state debt will reach in only 4 or 5 years' time, $188 billion. In fact, it's going to go up about $46 billion in only a 4 or 5 year period. It's extraordinary, but you wouldn't hear a peep out of Crisafulli and co about that or how they'd fix it. And so my final word, mate, this evening, and thank you for indulging me, is to LNP members who are just so betrayed by this stuff, please join the Libertarians. Come and join me. You know, we will be true in terms of policy and what we would do if we got some MPs into Parliament.
Well, I think the most important thing you said there is these oppositions, and you can lay the same veneer across, you know, New South Wales and Victoria, to be honest, they've got to tell people what they stand for.
NWA, mate.
Because well, everywhere, they've got to have the, pardon the French, but the balls to stand up there and say, this is garbage, we're not going to back this. When we get in, this is what we will do. I heard an interview on radio today with John Pasuto, the Victorian Liberal leader, and he wouldn't commit to stuff either. He was asked, do you back nuclear, will you remove the ban on nuclear power in Victoria? He couldn't even bring himself to say that. These people have to show some guts and courage, don't they?
Well, they do, mate. And look at Zach Kirkup a couple of years back in WA, who seems to be a role model for Crisafulli, you know, in terms of cowardice and a failure to take a position, I think, and, you know, espousing, you know, what the rank and file seeing as pretty left-wing ideas, and they got hosed out. Now, I don't think that's going to happen here. The trouble is, I think Crisafulli now thinks he's going to get across the line. Well, think again if you're not going to present a viable alternative. Look, I make this prediction, mate. What he's done this week, by the way, it sort of got buried because there was this other controversy in the state parliament about youth crime, which you might want to talk about. But apart from that, this is a slow burn thing now, and I think the journos, this is real political commentary here, the journos are now onto it. They will be asking Crisafulli relentlessly from now to the election what he stands for, what he will do. And the soft soap and the evasion that we've seen from him from the last 2 years isn't going to cut it any longer, mate. It will not cut it. And again, I hope the media challenge him and put the blowtorch on him, because it's not good enough. We've got a terrible premier and a terrible government right now. They coasted into office in 2015, if I may say so, and it's not even right that the LNP should be allowed to do that. So there's the challenge, and I hope David Crisafulli rises to that challenge, because Queenslanders are counting on a better alternative government.
Yep, we all need strong oppositions. We've run out of time, Campbell. Always a pleasure to catch up, mate. Thank you.